Okay,
Yeah, I was just waiting to start the recording. So I'd like to welcome everyone to the National CyberWatch webinar series. This is last of the 2014. We will be sending you an email sometime in January with the exciting program for 2015. Today we have with us Margaret Leary. She's the of the National CyberWatch Center, and she is absolutely brilliant and has a lot to share on building enrollments in your cybersecurity programs. I would just like to say, if you have any questions, I will be monitoring chat. Go ahead and type it in, and I will be able to interject. So without further ado, Margaret Leary, you're on.
Thank you. So I'm hoping to live up to that. But anyway, so I thought a webinar on capacity building was relevant because over the past number of years, I've been involved with CyberWatch for almost 9 years now, and we at Northern Virginia Community College have had a cybersecurity program ourselves that has not always been as successful as it is now. I often see the attitude administratively of, well, you know, college programs, if you build it, people will just come because demand is great in the field, and that drives enrollments. And so I see many institutions end up struggling with enrollments. Here in Northern Virginia Community College, we've had a cybersecurity program. We began developing this back in 1999. We were one of the earliest colleges, in fact, across the country to have a cybersecurity program. Introducing at first a cybersecurity certificate program as early as 2001. This was implemented across 2 and then 3 of our 6 campuses. We are actually the largest institution of higher ed here in Virginia and the second largest in the country. And so initially we had what we felt was a successful program. You had to already possess an associate degree, and then you also had to have you had to have industry experience. It was designed initially as a third-year certificate program. Later opened it up as to open enrollments and made it a part of a specialization in our IT program. However, what ended up happening a number of years ago is that we had key faculty who initially built this program left for greener pastures, and as a result, nobody picked up the ball and continued to make it an interesting program. It was an existing program, but not necessarily one that anybody knew about. It didn't get any advertising. It got no notification, and as such, many of these courses were canceled at campuses for low enrollments. And so other courses, you know, they just couldn't fill them. And so now, however, we have again turned this program around, and we're seeing regular growth of about 15% to 30% at multiple campuses. But still, some feedback. So I guess until we have some questions, please put computers on or audio on mute. As I tell my students, it's a one-way shove of information. But anyway, so I thought I would share some insights. I also did a survey among some of our members, some with programs that they're just starting out looking at obtaining a CAE 2Y, and I also talked with our folks out at Whatcom Community College who have a very successful program themselves, and I looked across programs for commonalities and what made cybersecurity programs successful, and why are these other programs having some issues, and where were they having issues. So we looked at program challenges here. Some of the things stood out routinely. One was a lack of administrative support. I heard this from a couple of colleges across the country here. Several colleges reporting growing pains that related to administration support with low enrollment of classes. That they would routinely end up having courses dropped, especially within the second-year classes that seem to suffer most from attrition as students realize perhaps that they weren't unprepared. Many of these are actually, these first 3 in many cases are actually rated one to another here. I'm going to share with you one of the comments because I think it's very relevant. I had one individual say, you know, I've designed a brochure on cybersecurity, designed a website for it, and I apologize, if there's any background noise here because I'm in a shared office space, so I do have other faculty around. But anyway, to go back to this, one of the comments that was made was, I've designed a brochure on cybersecurity, designed a website for it, given presentations at high school, but the lack of or the great challenge I have is in administration support. I can't get the college to believe in the program. I can't do it alone, but I've been trying. My administrator cancels courses based on low enrollments, which then gives students the idea that enrolling is somewhat fruitless. The class is just going to get canceled. We suffered from that as well here at Nova. I have to say that, in particular at our college here, within our campus, I had to get admin to buy off on letting low enrollment courses go because it's, as you know, we have this from other courses as well. It's self-fulfilling prophecy. If you cancel that class too soon or for low enrollment, students just don't have any assurance that you're ever going to run it at all. They're going to pay for it, and then it's going to be very difficult for them to get their money back here. And so the other problem that was raised here was, I think, something I see across multiple colleges. That he stated we have to be very careful when scheduling classes. Several required classes are only offered once a year in order to assure that there will be enough enrollment to make. We struggle to keep our night program afloat when you try to offer day and night sections of a particular course with low numbers, and then both of these sections get canceled. And so this is, something that I think we struggle with not only in cybersecurity, but within IT as well. And we'll talk about some ways perhaps to accommodate that or resolve that issue here. The other issue that was raised was unprepared students being admitted into the program with working competing backgrounds. Often this is a case where we've got a program that may be transferable, and we have so many general education credits. We're trying to put as many cybersecurity courses as possible into this program that we don't have room for some of maybe the A+ network courses. And of course, cybersecurity builds on a knowledge of, or a foundation of IT, very broad foundation of IT, if you would. You can't secure something that you don't understand anything about. And so we'll also take a look at this. Also, improperly advising students, perhaps, maybe you're not, suited for any of the more traditional computer science or academic courses. Let's put you in IT or cybersecurity, which certainly doesn't serve the student or the program well. And so they noted adjunct faculty turnover. And so I'll look at I'll present some strategies that I've seen be successful with this. First off, with regard to administration support, this is an initiative that has to be seen as a strategic initiative by your administration, and it's going to require that you have a lead at the institution that is able to convey this at the highest levels, even to the Vice President, President's office. The reason for this is many of these governors are now getting involved, wanting to know, why don't we have cybersecurity programs? Why aren't our community colleges state CE2Y? This has happened recently within Virginia. And oftentimes, the administration at the highest levels truly don't understand perhaps some of the details within the program itself. So you need to make sure that you are keeping administration in the loop, perhaps sending them more emails than what they'd really like on this, but also, enabling them to enabling to see what a strategic initiative this is, with perhaps interviews that you're doing, with webinars maybe that you're doing as well. I make sure I send everything to our administration. You also have to have employer buy-in. Obviously, there are some regions that perhaps don't have strong cybersecurity industries, but you do perhaps have healthcare, you do have other industries that you could support with a cybersecurity module or a cybersecurity program. Financial organizations, for instance, in centers that have heavy banking areas, industrial control areas. And so all, and maybe not the traditional cybersecurity program, but you have to have that employer buy-in so that you can drive this from the top down and have evidence that these students in this program are going to be able to find jobs here. The other the aspect of this is that you need to make sure that you're aggressively seeking grant funding. If you can seek grant funding, get your college's grant office to help you, that helped it defray a lot of the startup costs for the program. For instance, Department of Labor grants seeking to retrain returning vets. Partner with senior institutions or high schools even on, shared grant opportunities that demonstrate these pathways through the program. The other thing, too, that you need to do is engage students in competitions. And these are very high visibility activities that garner press releases, that generate a lot of interest in the program. So, and again, there are a number of these that really don't cost anything except for time and effort. With regard to enrollments, some of the schools that I've seen that successfully grow their program start with a small certificate program as opposed to a degree, or a degree specialization as opposed to a full-blown degree here. The other thing that we did also, we realized that we were having a dip in enrollments for a period, is that we made sure that we offered all of our courses, offering some of these once a year, but about a calendar so students can understand that the courses will be offered, and you give them a guarantee of offering that, even if you only have 5 students. I've literally had a class where I had 3 students, and trust me, 1 student or 2 students didn't show up. It was very odd lecturing to a single student, but you have to be able to get that buy-in from your administration to understand that there are going to be some growing pains, but lay out a 5-year plan for them, which is one of the things that I was asked to do for our provost. Lay out a plan to show them how I'm going to grow this program. So the other tactic that I've seen, we do this, and I saw Whatcom did this in some other colleges, is offer additional specializations that can share your courses between specializations. As an example, at Whatcom, they have some basic cyber classes, some security classes that are shared between one of their justice classes, and here we have the same thing except it's 80-day, and so it ensures then that you get students from both of these programs. Also, what I see is that our security basics class, which is essentially a security plus prep, serves as an entry point for people coming in from the industry who only show up to do a security plus class, but then we're able to encourage them to get enrolled in the program and pursue a certificate or a bachelor's, and I'll talk about, the differences here. I think that, obviously you need to develop transfer pathways so that students don't see this as a dead end. The reality in many of these areas is that some percent of these jobs require a bachelor's degree, and so we do have difficulty in our academic world in transferring applied degrees into cybersecurity programs, typically within institutions. Cybersecurity programs are placed within computer sciences, and as most of us know, our cybersecurity programs at a community college level tend to be located in IT, and there's no good pathway between IT and computer science. And so what we did here at Nova, and also I see this as similar with what Whatcom did with their respective program, is develop partnerships for private institutions. We have partnerships, as an example, with Marymount, who happens to be a Center of Academic Excellence, with George Washington University, with UMUC, and then also work on public institution partnerships as well. We just, Whatcom has one with University of Washington. It was one of the first in the country. We also have a new one with George Mason University that, instead of being within their traditional program, it's in their adult degree completion program, which allows for us to have a very heavily hands-on hands-on, hard skill-oriented degree path for our AAS degree in cybersecurity. So, I'm constantly re-educating counselors who are telling students, well, if you do an AAS in IT or cybersecurity, you're not going to get it to transfer to George Mason or another public institution. And I tell them that's no longer the case. We have a transfer path into GMU where it transfers in full with our AAS in cybersecurity into their degree completion program. And I think these instances serve as models that can use to go to your institutions and your, partners and say, look, can we do anything to replicate this? Because it is really a strategic initiative across the country here. Another area, too, and this gets to understanding your market. Another area, and I'll show you our demographics on this, is developing even graduate leveling programs for transitioning adults. This is something that I see as a need actually at my campus specifically, out of 5 campuses where I have the majority of individuals who already possess a bachelor's degree. I'm looking to flesh that with some cybersecurity courses and knowledge. And so they generally come back, take the certificate program that we also offer, and use that then to look at graduate program entrance. And in fact, the SFS scholarship that I mentioned with Marymount includes, I've sent a couple of my students over that have had bachelor's in history, have done the AAS in cybersecurity, and have gone into the master's program under the SFS program under a full ride scholarship. It's been very successful as well. The other thing that you have to do is develop a dog and pony show for first-year classes. I know that some of you have mentioned, you go out to high schools and all. I even order little rubber squeeze toys, cyber ninjas, that have information on here. I have several PowerPoint slides, but it's important, I think, to get the word out, even not to high school students necessarily, but to your own college students within other areas of IT. Not that I would ever, of course, advocate stripping out enrollments from your other programs, of course not. But you just might want to let them know about your cybersecurity program and the exciting competitions and if you're CAE, well then CAE 2Y, well then you have scholarship opportunities, internship opportunities, etc. They may not be available in some of the programs. Also, with regard to enrollments, it's absolutely critical to know your market. Community colleges serve a wide variety of masters, and we don't just serve the 18 to 20-year-old student any longer. In fact, within my program, and our demographics differ by campus, with my program here at the Alexandria campus, I survey my students who are taking I-10 260, the Security Plus Prep, and I found some interesting demographics. 70% of these are between the ages of 30 and 59. They're not the 18 to 20-year-old. It's actually very difficult to get 18 to 20-year-olds motivated. 50% already have degrees, bachelor's degrees. Some even have master's degrees, but they know that they can come back to community college and they can enhance their hard skills. And so, of this is I have to develop programs that meet their needs. They're not going to be interested in going into the 4-year degree pathway. They're looking for master's programs. They're looking for IT preparation that will allow them to proceed into a master's program more easily, more cheaply. They also can't do internships. So you have to be very careful with capstones and required internships, because obviously the majority of our students within a community college environment are also working adults, and so you have to be strategic, maybe offering e-internships or other mechanisms, and encouraging them to get practice within competitions like Cyber Races, the CCDC, National Cyber League, that can demonstrate some hard skills to the employer. So we also need to ensure that our students have adequate preparation here, and that we're not doing a disservice to them or to the industry by producing students that know a lot of policy but don't have any hard skills. In fact, it's one of the most common complaints I have from students even within senior institutions, and that the job fairs and the employers will ask them, well, what hard skills do you have? What tools have you worked with? Not often able to answer that. And I think that's where we at a community college can uniquely really differentiate ourselves, and that we do, for the most part, instill these hard skills. It also may be difficult to comprehend why in the world you would want to chase students away from the program when you're trying to build enrollments. However, getting uncommitted students into a program, students who say, well, I heard that I can make a lot of money at it. I don't know anything about it, but I heard I can make money at it. These types of students that are looking for access to make a quick buck are going to kill a program more quickly than the lack of enrollments, when these students start to complain because they graduate and they can't find work. And so when students come to my desk, I have faculty advise at this campus. I don't have counselors necessarily advise within cybersecurity. I ask our counselors to send those students directly to me. And that's the first question I will ask. Well, why is it that you're interested in cybersecurity? What do you want to do within cybersecurity? And I make certain that they understand the commitment, and I make certain they understand that we'll point them to the tools, but the reality of getting a job is going to be that they're going to have to extend what knowledge that we give them and the tools that we show them how to use to build their own labs at home and continue to work with these tools so they can address those industry questions in the job interviews about what tools have you used and how have you used them. So again, too, within our AAS degree, we ensured that we take the student through A+, Network+, Security+, and this is where many of the programs I've seen that have been successful have followed the CyberWatch model curriculum that was guided. These students tend to do better actually within the competitions, collegiate cyber defense competition.
Margaret?
Yes, go ahead.
So there are two questions, and I thought one was especially appropriate given your last statement. Do the attendees get access to the CyberWatch model curriculum?
At the National CyberWatchCenter.org. And so you can send myself over an email, and I can forward that over to Terry Kempner. It does require, I believe that requires membership, and membership is free. And so just shoot over an email, and she can let you know the details on that.
And then your question is that when you had this 3-year certificate program there was a question about, are there community colleges offering 4-year degrees in cybersecurity? How successful are they, and is this a viable pathway?
Well, that's actually very interesting because in the response across the nation for the problem between 2-year and 4-year transferability, we've seen the rise of the applied baccalaureates being offered at community colleges. Many of these community colleges drop the term community out of their name entirely as they're awarded the ability to offer a BAS. We see this, I think 13 states within the country have allowed their community colleges to do this. And so, and this is not only just because of cybersecurity, but this is also because of other occupational programs such as health, IT, as an example. I think we have to remember that for most of us at community college level, the cybersecurity roles that we teach are not oriented in programming and mathematics that are typical to a computer science curriculum. These are very occupational roles. And so, yes, I think that these programs are very successful. In fact, when I went to the NICE conference this past couple of weeks, I was a bit gratified to see a presentation by Burning Glass, who demonstrated that the positions, by and large, that they're having difficulty filling or keeping filled are ones for cybersecurity that require networking knowledge. They didn't talk about programming, et cetera, malware, reverse engineering. They were looking specifically for people who understood how to harden a server and how to, zero those servers. So I think that we're going to see continued emphasis on applied baccalaureates, whether it be offered at public institutions or, such as Mason and Washington State, or I think you're going to see doing it themselves. Okay. All right. So with regard to faculty, most of us realize that, especially those of us who teach full-time, that adjunct faculty are very valuable to programs, especially to this, where these faculty members bring in a wealth of industry experience as well as certification. My recommendation with regard to faculty is, first off, if you're developing a cybersecurity program, you lead it with a cyber zealot. You can't have somebody leading this program, other duties as assigned, who doesn't understand the cyber industry, who doesn't have a passion for the cyber industry. Everywhere you see programs that are successful are where there are individuals who are absolutely committed to securing the nation's infrastructure and developing professionals to be able to do that here. So you also need to identify several, well-trained full-time as well as part-time faculty. At NOVA, we look at adjuncts who want to teach. They have to have industry certification. Even our own full-time faculty, the majority of them have industry certification or experience, and that's, of course, a requirement for your CAE-2Y, and that you have to be able to demonstrate, well, what qualifies these individuals, other than the fact that they might have took a computer science degree years ago that has no relevance to the cybersecurity discipline, what qualifies them to actually teach cybersecurity. And so I think it's important to encourage faculty externship. Here at the college, I've been fortunate that the college has allowed me to pursue my outside consulting activities that I do and work part-time outside of the college. That helps me bring in new information also. And so, professional development is key. Here at NOVA, we're providing, as an example, Certified Ethical Hacker course for our faculty who are interested in teaching cybersecurity courses, and that's being done the first week. We've contracted with a trainer to come in and do that. But there's also the National CyberWatch Center and other centers such as CASIA can provide this as well through the link that I have here, teachingtechnicians.org, where a lot of this is advertised. So the other thing, too, is make sure that you're engaging your adjunct faculty, because the individuals want to help out. Many of these folks that's interested in our campus actually went to community college, and they look as it's giving something back to the community. So very happy to help with program direction. The thing, too, that many new institutions struggle with are the costs. I'm often asked, well, what about the cost? It's going to be too expensive for me to stand up, this expensive cybersecurity lab with servers to attack, etc. There's nothing cheaper in the world than teaching cybersecurity. You don't have to have a dedicated lab, although I do recommend it. By and large, we had to have a dedicated lab because one of our students did a rogue DHCP server attack that was far too effective and took down most of our labs way before they realized it. But, really, all the tools are, by and large, free. The ability to create virtual machines on your desktops in your labs is free. And so these are the things that, the DHS and NSA want to see students be able to do: create a virtual machine, download Nessus, run Wireshark, and install Windows Server. You can do all of these, but you don't even have to do it with your lab. For instance, with Windows Server, we actually go out, we use the Wiley MOAC Microsoft to fill academic curriculum, and they're labs. So students actually pay an extra $40 to connect to Microsoft and manage a virtual server there. We don't have to have, then, everyone working with their own server on desktop, and this also facilitates our program, which we're able to offer completely online and still have the same quality of hands-on. Jones and Bartlett is an example as well. EC Council also has virtual labs that are very inexpensive, at least for the college. We're not allowed to charge lab fees, which is one of the reasons why we've gone to these techs with the virtual labs. Lessons learned out of this. I apologize for the background noise. I've got some faculty in the back talking. But lessons learned, make it something bigger than just your institution. And this, again, takes time and effort. But with the national competitions, the fact that we strongly brand our school with National CyberWatch Center, and students then are not just graduating from NOVA, but they're part of a national initiative to, secure our cyber infrastructure. We have a student organization that's very strong down at Woodbridge. We do industry tours. I'm setting one up now for our students here. And we partner with professional organizations such as ISA and ISC Squared, ISACA. And so these are all very important because they give students, InfraGard loves students, student memberships. This all gives them a sense of being a part of a much larger national effort than just, I'm graduating from community college with a degree in cybersecurity. So I tend to talk very quickly, and so I can knock these out by and large within about half an hour. But I thought, if we have any questions, that I'm happy to take some questions for this.
So there was a question about the Microsoft resource. Can you repeat the name of it again and describe how someone would have access to it?
Yeah, you just contact Wiley. Wiley is the Microsoft assigned by Microsoft to develop the official academic curriculum for Microsoft. And so they have textbooks, and then they also have lab options. This is the MOAC lab, MOAC, but that provides them with a virtual environment that they log into, that they work through about, 40 labs that match the textbook very well, being able to do all of the, system administration activities without you having to worry about trying to set up virtual machines and then have them blown away by another group of students, et cetera. And it lets them do it at home. It lets them do it, through online courses as well. So email, I'm happy to send you over the ISBNs for that.
Myrtle, on one of the slides?
I don't think so. It's mleary@nvcc.edu. I'm a slide. Yeah, Northern Virginia Community College, so nvcc.edu.
M, and I'm like, she's not at an M.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Yeah, that was it. I saw that. Yes.
Any more questions for Margaret? Good alternatives to the NDG Net Lab. We hear a lot about it, but that is very cost prohibitive in many cases. Jones and Bartlett mentioned a product at the Community College Summit, Cyber Summit over the summer, but I can't find anything on it.
Well, if you contact, and again, you can shoot an email to me because I work closely with the Jones and Bartlett folks. We use the Jones and Bartlett textbooks and their associated virtual labs for about 4 of our courses. We use this for an IDS, a firewalls course. Actually, it's more heavily in firewalls than IDS. We also use it for our ethical hacking class. We also use it for, I'm trying to think what other class we use it for, but we use it for several classes. And the reason for that is that it does offer a virtual environment with these tools loaded. I use it for my forensic class, and the reason for that is that students then can use NCASE, they can use FTK, they walk through a series of hands-on labs, and I don't have to set that up because, frankly, with my other efforts, I don't really have time to do that. And I don't have to maintain an infrastructure at the college. Students just access it through their browser. If you're interested in that, too, I can send you over the contact information I have, put you in touch with them, and you can talk to them. But, there's no reason to spend, we don't spend really any money at my campus on our labs. Again, we have a dedicated lab that has internet access, and otherwise it's outfitted the same as every other lab here.
Margaret, would you mind advancing to the next slide?
Sure. All right.
I just wanted to remind everyone, and there certainly we can still have more questions, but before we run out of time, I wanted to make sure that everyone knew that to watch your inboxes, we send invitations for webinars and, of course, the professional development opportunities that National CyberWatch Center offers. We're also going to send you a link to today's recordings, please share it with your colleagues. We are glad to become a resource. And one more slide. I also, as we start thinking about webinars for 2015, if you have suggestions or things you're interested in, please feel free to email Casey O'Brien. And you know what? His email address has changed. It's Cobrian National CyberWatch. So I'm put that in the chat for you to see. Because we would really like to do what you would find interesting. Are there any further questions? So with that, I will thank you all for joining us. I'd like to thank Margaret for sharing such great information. I hope that you all can put this to use, and I hope that you'll share it at your meetings and when you do your networking.